Well, let's say this, Colin. Look, if Fire and Ice wins this series, hey, they beat eUnited literally on their best maps. That's going to be incredibly telling of what Fire and Ice can do, no matter how inconsistent FNI has been. And I said at the beginning of the show, guys, no matter how inconsistent FNI has been as of recently, no matter how consistent eUnited's been as of recently, right? Literally flawless, right? Flawless record. This is always a great matchup because neither team wants to lose to each other. Let's not forget, guys, eUnited first place during the Spring Major. Fire and Ice second place, absolutely decimated. So Fire and Ice, they want to win this just as much as EU, which therefore allows for an intense matchup. Let's get into it, brother. It looks like it's already a scrappy fight for the first kill, and FNI will strike first and get control.
And I like that. FNI comes out. I knew they were going to pressure the Rose Garden early, middle of the map, though. I'm trying to take a look. You see Powerz with the M-bar. Powerz is going through that open side of the map. He's going through that respawn section. He's going to get at this 90 degree. He's going to look down to the bottom side, try to get shots on. As anybody pokes their head out, he's going to try to get that poke damage. Fearzly waiting in the wings, though. Back A out on a Kenny. Beautiful job there. Praized is going to be able to trade that out. But I realistically believe that this is where the play's got to be made. Powerz finds one. He's got to find that elbow right there. Try to push that player out from the backside of the Rose Garden. Dyslexic trying to rush through the middle of the map. Not going to be able to get much done going in this one. And that is another quick kill for eUnited. They got to get a neutralization, not give up all these points, but they need to be able to get to that next hill. They got to get the close respawn, and they got to pressure up into that second one.
Definitely do. Kenny just on the outskirts. Fire and Ice establishes themselves 3 strong, 7 kind of struggling a little bit behind, but he'll be there shortly. Maybe not. He's going to take an off angle. Player 4 is going to meet him, though, to keep him in check. So good heads up across the board. Powerz opens up with 1 elimination onto Dyslexic. That's going to mean 2 in the hill. Challenging from outside, though, is going to be Fearzly, and he's going to run straight into the M-bar player, take down Powerz. That was a bold push, but it pays off.
Bold pushes. Look, fortune favors the bold, baby. And Toti right now playing to the backside of this hill. A lot of good shots onto Kenny. Gets that second kill onto him yet again. You see Kenny also playing that new character. I believe he's playing... I need to get a good look at it. I think it's Bernadette. Yeah, it is. He's playing Miss Mataki out there, but let's take a look here at the middle of the hill. Sliding into Powerz normally would be something you get punished for, but he comes away with a kill. Praized thankfully finds some bricks there. They finally start to get control over this hill, but they are going to have to get a lot of points back in the next couple of hills to be able to fight back into this first map. Fire and Ice has done a fantastic job through the first few minutes.
Yeah, great job. Teamfight's been going their way. They've been capitalizing in moments, loving the pushes from Fearzly. Again, pushing straight in to Kenny, who had that M-bar originally. Things like that matter and make a big difference. Now the fact that Xploidz has the M-bar, eUnited needs to be very aware and cautious of this. The fact that Kenny drops, that's going to force Powerz back. And once again, Fire and Ice establishing themselves early on for the next hill. But eUnited knocking at the door to retake it, but they are losing fights, and FNI is just looking great.
FNI is doing a fantastic job there, wolf packing around. This is what they have to do. They have great CQC players. They have the ability to pressure up with the shotguns. Toti's going to have to play back now. A couple of players die at the front side of the hill. Xploidz, he's not going to slow down. Rody strafe out of him gets 1. Little wall bounce, doesn't connect with the second. Toti's going to get pushed out, but Fire and Ice has the close respawn. They've got the soldiers back into the fight already. Xplosive tries to go wide, and that's an absolutely silly little dance of death he tried to do there. He's out wide in the open for anybody to pressure up on. Nice. Powerz thankfully can shut down the opposite side of the hill with a quick back A and a kill. They don't have anybody else to worry about except coming from Rose Garden. They need to be able to get the rest of these points. The 50 points on the board right now gets them up over 100, gets them about a 30 to 40 point lead, and that gives them the ability to kind of rotate over the way that they want to.
Yeah, well done from eUnited. They've closed the gap. They take the first lead currently on Regency control, right? Because Fire and Ice dominated the first 2 hills, but the third one, a much different story. This could be the final hold that they need. It's going to be traded out to Xploidz. Last one in the hill. He'll be joined quickly, though, by Dyslexic from the flank, but either way, Powerz going to get the pickup, and now Dyslexic's going to be in a 1v2, forced to dip away. He'll get picked up, but the pressure unrelenting from Praized as he pushes up, gets the trades, and that eUnited pressure taking the fight to FNI is going to put him on the back pedal. Incredible job.
Kill feed lights up blue for a hot moment. Xploidz, though, trying to pressure up on a Praized. Again, playing that defensive role that he is so good at. Rolls back, plays away from the pressure, gets into a situation where he can hit a full spread, and look at the damage counters. Look at the kills up there. Praized with 13 kills to his name, less on the damage. So that tells us that he's actually cleaning up a lot more kills. That allows us to tell a little bit better of a story. Praized isn't having to go up front and hit people in the mouth. He's able to just get shots to get kills or finishes to go for his squad. Powerz is going to get quickly revived, but Xploidz is right there for the up A. The kill feed lights up red. They have control over the middle of the map, and they're ready for the next hill rotation.
Ready for the next hill rotation indeed. And again, scrappy battle, a big win for eUnited if they take map 1. I think an even bigger win for Fire and Ice going into the wheelhouse of eUnited, currently undefeated 2-0 when it comes down to Regency. We'll obviously have Spire later, eUnited undefeated on that map too. But if we get to that point, we knew it was going to be a pretty risky start for the boys of FNI with the first 3 maps that they picked. But eUnited's heating up, a much polarizing and a different story than the first couple of hills that we saw. But Fearzly hiding in the shadows will be caught out. He's down, and eUnited establishes themselves on the Statue Hill. Well done from them. Let's see how long they can hold on to it.
And now you see the chance for Kenny to play this back position. This is a little bit of a linchpin. You've got a 90-degree. If anybody pushes into the front side of the hill, you can pepper him up, lancer him out. You see the marks are good right now. But look at Xplosive. He plays the baby steps to the front side and gets 2v1. Nobody rotates over with a lancer to help him put damage so that he has easy one-shots. He has to play a 2v1 straight up. Kenny bounces around, tries his hardest to get even a single kill. Won't be able to get it to go, though. I'm just not sure what they could have done better in that situation other than maybe help one another out a little bit more. Powerz is going to get revived. Xplosive is going to sacrifice his life to the gods. This next hill at the bottom of these stairs is pretty crucial. I think if you're Praized, you got to play a little defensively here. You got to rotate back toward the Rose Garden, and you've got to be able to get shots onto these players that might chase you out toward this shot grenade.
Shot grenade is in his hands. Unfortunately, he's down, but luckily for him, Fire and Ice can't get an angle to take him out, so you got to assume he's going to get picked up, and he will be. Xploidz once again with the M-bar in hand. This is the second time. The first time, pretty impactful this time around, though. He has an opportunity to mow these players down, and that's going to be a steady shot, taking down Xplosive. Fire and Ice once again retaking that lead. They've got about a 20-point lead at the point, and man, Xploidz putting on a clinic. He's connected the 3 M-bar shots he has sent flying, only missing the 4th one against Powerz, but either way, that's going to spook him enough to push him back. And just like eUnited before, the pressure from Fire and Ice unrelenting, Colin, and they are taking the fight, and Xploidz continues to connect shot after shot with the M-bar.
Shot after shot, block after block. He's building a house that Fire and Ice can live in, and they can absolutely evict eUnited at any time that they want to. They're living rent-free because they're playing such good pressure offense. They're playing together. They're shooting for one another. I think this is one of the times that you got to realize if you're eUnited that that's where you're lacking. You're not getting damage, and there it is. A double Lancer gets that first kill rotating toward this next hill. Powerz needs to be able to set up. They got to call out the players coming through that middle of the hallway. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to get anything going except for the fact that once they get out into that open, players are going to be able to Lancer up on them. So you're going to have to wait for your teammates. I think the longer he plays around with that door, the the easier it is for his teammates to push up into where the next hill is going to be. But they got to push these players out. They got to get a kill or 2 here to try to get that close respawn. Because I think right now with the way this is going to work is eUnited, even if they die or one player dies, they're going to spawn right back up into that close respawn at the bottom of this hill. They need to find a couple of them. They need to be able to overwhelm this situation.
It's going to start with Kenny. You can see him start to rotate up. He's going to get that cross, and that's going to allow a little bit of extra leeway for Praized to push, but that down is going to be big for Dyslexic. He knows this, and Fearzly doing what he did earlier in the game, pushing out, creating that pressure, but he's going to be met head-on, or at least Xploidz is going to take down Xplosive. Praized also falls, but will the break from EU be there? Maybe not. Fire and Ice holding on, and one of the things that I was worried about once FNI took that 50, 60-point lead this late in the game, right, as we reached a midway point, or at least a little bit further, is that this can snowball pretty badly for eUnited, and we've seen that happen in the past, specifically in Phase 1, and we might be reaching that point, but does EU get the break here? I don't know. Toti might have something to say, but eventually falls, and eUnited does get the break, but for what? Just 10 points? Fire and Ice still has a commanding lead, and they rotate early.
And right now, with 80 points to go, they can really play this kind of slow and steady. They can wait for eUnited to leave a hill, or if eUnited's not quick enough to the punch, they can get to the next hill early enough to force out players and get a few more points. This is that danger zone we're talking about. That's a 100-point club and up over 200 points. Toti with a quick couple of shots and maybe a couple of up A's right there. Might have gotten him close to a kill, but nothing to go just yet. See the Powerz rotating into this next hill now. M-bar in hand. First shot out, gets a headshot. I think that was a shot grenade or a frag out by Praized. Gets 1 kill. Dyslexic is going to clean that up. Gets that easy pick and really plays him like a fiddle. Reads the up A and now is able to get it set out. Going forward, all 4 players from Fire and Ice, they're going to spawn up toward that next hill. That's what needs to be the concern. They need to get these kills and maybe push somebody up those stairs.
Well done from Kenny to help out Powerz in that moment. Unfortunately, Dyslexic gets the kill over the cover, but the job's still not over with yet. eUnited rotating in 3 strong. They understand. Now they have to fight for every inch. Now, my only concern, though, is going, at least for the rotation for the new hill. That's where Fire and Ice has established themselves, but it looks like Xplosive is wanting to get eUnited an opportunity to strike. But F&I, off of their deaths, will respawn right next to the new hill. eUnited now has to focus on getting them out of this positioning. If F&I has another successful hill, eUnited's going to be in big trouble. They know that. But eUnited, if they can clean it up, not only on that last hill, but on this next one, Colin, they could be sitting solid, sitting pretty, and this could once again be competitive. But it's really dependent on this next hill.
And that's a good little stand by Fire and Ice. The double downs onto Xplosive, the way that they played the Lancer game right there. I think they might even have a 3rd Lancer rotate over. They know that they don't really need that last 7 points. They need to worry about the next rotation. Powerz, once again, has a fresh M-bar, up to 14,000 damage in this situation. Any shots on will be crucial for him to get. Shock to the backside will push that player all the way over to that cover. Headshot on the first player, has to worry about the next one. Flash out. Won't be able to do anything just yet about that next player. Praise might go down. Powerz actually puts himself in the fight. He puts himself in a danger zone. The up A attempt not going to be good enough in that situation, and I really think that could turn the tide here. That's a 100%. Lot of points for them to gather up. Xplosive with a kill on the close respawn. Now has a second fight to worry about. Fearzly versus Xplosive over the close respawn could be a defining moment in this game. Nades picked up middle of the map, died Dyslexic. They got to wait for a full 4-man push, and they got to try to use these nades in a very cheeky angle. One thrown down to Xplosive. It bounces perfectly into his lap, gets the kill. Powerz answers back with an M-bar, and this is going to get close. This is going to be on a knife's edge. Beautiful body shot, but he doesn't get the down to go.
He doesn't, and that's a big break for Fire and Ice. eUnited was starting to steamroll their way back into this round. Unfortunately, Fire and Ice gets the break, and eUnited is looking down the barrel of a loaded gun at this point, as Fire and Ice is most likely going to be at the 260, 270 point mark. eUnited needed to catch up and close that gap. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to do that now. They've got to be more successful on the next hill, which they can be. The good thing is this time around, they established themselves early, and let's not forget, they were very successful off their first rotation on the hill coming up next, Colin. So this very well could once again be a successful hill for eUnited, but it's that next one that's going to matter, where they got to fight tooth and nail. But for now, eUnited is set up well. They're covering their angles. They're pushed up so they don't allow Fire and Ice to get anywhere close. They're going to have to fight for every inch, and eUnited's winning their fight. So this is their moment to come back.
I was getting worried for a second. I was like, that's a mischaracterization. I don't see Xplosive miss many shots like that. The way that Toti up-A'd right into him, Xplosive missed the first one, bounced around, missed the second. Powerz is going to find a kill in the middle of the map on the M-bar player, and he's going to have a flank possibly onto Fearzly. Fearzly waiting in the wings. I love that play by him. He pushes Powerz back out, and now with a chance to try to push him, he puts himself in the danger zone, and Powerz gets the headshot. Powerz now has control over the inside of the building. They have the close spawn. They get the 3 kills at the back stairwell. One player left inside of the hill. It's going to be Toti. He's playing at the front side cover. He's going to try to push in. He gets marked out. Here comes the team fire, the team fight. Beautiful job. 20-point differential at this point. They need to be worried about who else will be coming through the middle of the map, maybe going for those nades. Another body shot and another chunk kill from the M-bar out of Powerz. Just too good. Powerz at 20k damage. 20.4 right now. Has one more to worry about in front of him. Gets picked off from the up A. Xplosive can't help him out in that situation. He's going to have to sacrifice that off to the gods. They're playing up on the nades. Double down on the hill. Double down on the hill. They need to get somebody over there quickly. They're both going to die off, but I think the more important and pressing fight is those nades. Both players die. Nobody's going to get those last 7 seconds on the hill. Xploidz with another kill right here could give them the initial. It is a 2-point lead for eUnited, but Fire and Ice already in the area, waiting and ready for them to push up.
Statue Hill's going to be it, Colin. This is what it all comes down to, and it often does. eUnited has lost on this hill, they've won on this hill, and now they're looking to get another victory, but Fire and Ice has something to say about it. The fact that they rotate early and they're set up, this is going to be big. This mid-fight is critical. Powerz cannot, or Toti cannot allow anybody from eUnited to push up, but he doesn't have a choice. Kenny also finds an off angle. Toti's forced to push in. Kenny hits a nice shot. Toti's still up on his own. Praized from the backside. It's going to take him down. Now eUnited, a full 3-man push, is going to be able to focus in on the players from mid, but Fire and Ice still getting points. They're so close to victory, but eUnited looks to get a break, and they do!
eUnited gets that break. They're in the hill right now. They've got 40 seconds left. They can win off of this hill. There's a 10-second point differential between what they need and what they can give up. They need to stay stout right here. Praized with the M-bar. Powerz trying to fight off one player outside. Toti gets the kill there. 2 players fighting through the right side of the map. 1 more coming in from the left. Big headshot out from Praized. That might shut down this retake. The longer he's in this hill, he's about to get double pressed, actually. Powerz in the backside of the hill. Needs to be worried about his front and backside. He's going to get flanked out. That's going to be 2 kills. 13 seconds left. Xplosive and Kenny have to stay alive here. This is going to come down to a knife's edge. The revive from Powerz, the double bounce, the attempted back A. Not going to be enough. Toti has help from Dyslexic. This is coming down to the nitty-gritty. I don't know. I don't think there's enough. There is enough left. They get 1 more kill. They don't give up 1 more little neutralization. eUnited will lose map number 1 to Fire and Ice in their first map loss. So this split, baby, has come to the hands of Fire and Ice.
Taking map 1 is a statement, an electrifying map number 1 on Regency control. eUnited Praized getting the MVP, but for what? Only to take the L. Fire and Ice in that last hill won the critical team fight, stood their ground, 10 toes down, Colin, and they take the victory, and a big one. We knew coming into map 1 on Regency control, the odds were against Fire and Ice, but they end up succeeding. They take the map 1, and that is a big one because we talked about the first 3 maps and how big it was going to be for Fire and Ice to at least take one of them or a couple of them, because eUnited on paper were the talented team on all 3 of the first maps, right? That's Regency, Checkout, and Vascar. We still don't know how Checkout and Vascar is going to play out, but the fact that Fire and Ice finally strikes first, that is massive for them, and they played well. They really did.
Again, it's their team pressure. It's their team fire. To get that early lead, it became too much for eUnited to overcome. That's what control is about. Control, if you can get that early lead, if you can pressure your opponent out of the hills, out of the spawn rotation, you can really make life a living hell for them the rest of the map. You saw how hard 2 players in Powerz and Praized were playing for 3/4 of that map. The problem was that first quarter, they didn't get the help needed. They gave up 60 points on the first hill, another 40 or so on the second. It just wasn't working out for them. It just wasn't looking good for the longest time. It took a lot of time for eUnited to really get started going in this first map.
You know, one of the things that has constantly bit eUnited in the butt from phase 1, not phase 2, much different story. Naturally, this is the first map loss they have taken in all of phase 2, which, just to say, that is still very impressive. And eUnited only loses by, 12 points as a whole. So it's not like they got destroyed, but one of the things that hurt eUnited in phase 1, Colin, was they would take early deficits that were pretty substantial, and Fire and Ice did take a decent lead, and the scary thing is they took a lead above the 250 mark, which we know that's kind of the danger territory, right, where you can now fight for the scrap time, and that scrap time is going to put you over the edge and get you close. Case in point right here, 259 to 209. Fire and Ice had that early lead, but to eUnited's credit, they fought back tooth and nail, and they looked as if they were going to take the map, but Fire and Ice was too far gone, too far ahead, and they ended up closing it out. But I must say, that Statue Hill was just unrelenting. And you said it best, Colin, the pressure from Fire and Ice. That is something that makes them a unique and dominant team. When they're playing on all 4 cylinders, that pressure is so unrelenting and tough to deal with that even the best in the world sometimes fall.
Yeah, I mean, enough pressure will make anybody crumble sooner or later, and that's one of the things that Fire and Ice hangs their hat on. I really do believe that they played that picture perfect. That is a fantastic map 1 for them. It comes down to a 12-point differential. That's a scary thought for Fire and Ice going forward, because that tells them that if they do not put on an absolute showcase, there's a chance they could lose that first map. They had to be perfect from start to finish. They stumbled about halfway through to let eUnited back into the game, and they were able to wrap it up. Whereas if I'm eUnited, I'm saying, look, we just got to learn to start off a little bit quicker. We got to start a little bit hotter. They now go through 3 game modes and 3 maps that they got to feel very confident about. I think if I'm eUnited, if I was their coaching staff, if I was Rubik, Sleepy Time, I was going into a huddle, I was in their Discord, I don't know who it might be, Burns, who it could be, it could be anybody from eUnited. They got to make the comment, we do not go map 5 against these fools. We do not go to Clock Tower. We have got to settle this down right here, right now. We got to win Checkout, Vascar, and wrap it up with Spire. Do not keep giving them life, because one thing that we have seen eUnited do, and it is the thing that has killed them in major tournaments and mid-split playoffs, wherever they find themselves in the losing end, they keep giving teams extra life. They keep giving them a little bit of CPR. They give them a few chest compressions, and all of a sudden that team comes back to life, and they're right there biting them in the butt for it. You gotta finish your kills. You gotta finish your games. eUnited, so good in that mid round, so good toward that late game. Just too little too late, though, in my opinion. They didn't get it going early enough. They got to put people away, and they got to keep them away.
And Colin, just to extrapolate on that point, eUnited has done that. And you said, that's kind of been one of the things that's bit them in the butt in the past. But one of the teams you don't want to do that to, especially in this case, is Fire and Ice, because they are a team that if you allow them to stay alive map to map in the series in general, they don't waste that opportunity very often, okay? If you give them a chance to win a map or to stay alive in a series, more often than not, when that pressure is on, they get better and they don't let it phase them, right? eUnited, granted, they don't get phased by pressure, right? They never have, they never will. They're just kind of that team that's unique in that regard, and it gives them the added edge on teams. But Fire and Ice is that rare breed that just always finds a way to stay alive when you think they're down and out. I don't care if they're down 2-0 in the series. They have found so many times to find their way back in to a map 5, only to win the thing when you thought they were down and out. So like you said, eUnited, they've got to close that out when they have the added edge. But Regency control, it's done with. We're moving into checkout execution. And you've already said that eUnited is favored on this map. Break it down for me. Why is that?
They're so good at the mid-map pressure, whether it be the platform in Sydney area or getting somebody into the checkout lanes. They are extraordinarily good at mid-map pressure, which forces a team to make a decision whether they're going to play back or play up into you. The other thing that has really started to come through for him, and it's one of the reasons he was voted Player of the Week a few weeks ago, Praized has been so much better in his 1v1s, bottom side of the map, by those frag grenades. I really think Praized playing that 1v spot, as good as he's played it recently, has forced teams to make bad decisions on the opposite side of the map. If they don't get you with the initial pick from a guy like Powerz or Xplosive or Kenny on that checkout side, Praized is more than happy to pick up one on the opposite side of the map. He's more than happy to win his 1v and give his team a chance to win this. Real quick, Taylor, before we get into map 2, I want you to kind of give me your thoughts on this, because it's something that I've been mulling around a lot in my head lately, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this. I'm starting to think that back in Gears 4 and even going into Gears 5, there was that aura, that aura that was surrounded any team with Xplosive on it, where at any moment they could dominate you, take over the game, and it was hard to come back. Do you think that aura, I'm not going to say that aura is gone, but do you think that aura is now a negative because everybody goes at them? Nobody's giving us a chance to beat you anyway, so let's play as hard as we can and let's have zero respect and try to just beat you up.
I don't even think that aura really brings in, teams wanting to beat you up. I don't. I do feel everybody wants to beat eUnited just because they're eUnited and they have the team that's there. So yeah, in a way that's true. But quite honestly, let's be real. Like that aura, that dominating presence. And I hate to say this because it's history. I mean, it's absolutely history. But once Mental left that roster, I don't think people gave as much respect to eUnited. I really don't think they did, right? This 4-man roster is incredible. They've won a championship. They are one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. Currently rises in first, but eUnited is eUnited. Fire and Ice, by the way, wins that convincingly. Fearzly, the only one dropping, but when it comes down to that aura, I'm going to be real with you. I don't think it's really that impactful anymore. Maybe to certain teams, newer teams entering into the league like Elevate and Co. But when it comes down to Fire and Ice or Pittsburgh Knights or Rise or any of the dominant teams who've been on the come up and really been doing well, Colin, You know what? I mean, honestly, Fire and Ice might have that aura now. You know, teams might look at them. Vanquish might have that new aura, right? That's kind of the teams that I'm looking at to be the most dominant teams, in my opinion, that teams are worried about. eUnited, you have to be worried to play them, but it definitely doesn't have that dominating effect that they used to have.
And back-to-back rounds for Fire and Ice. This is a worrisome sight for eUnited fans across the globe, and right now it's a worrisome sight for our predictions. I mean, my God, all of us went eUnited, even in the chat. Like, chat we went with them, Blaze went with them, PR went with them, everybody went with them. We all, my goodness gracious, boy, this is not looking good for our pick'ems, but eUnited's got to figure it out right here. That's back-to-back rounds. Powerz has been shut down. Look at Powerz, only 648 damage to his name. He's playing up onto that platform, that mid checkout lane in that platform area, and has twice now been shut down quite easily. Snub in hand, finally helps get it down there. Still alive. They get the initial ice-breaking kill in the pick here. Dyslexic actually gets pressured by Praized onto his side of the map, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Praized is able to pressure out a lot of people, and he's able to help win a lot of these fights because of what he's able to do. Powerz bouncing around, trying to answer back with one more onto Xploidz. Kenny now trying to rotate in. Hits that first shot, but look at the Wolfpack. All three players here. eUnited has them between each other, but it's now going to force Fire and Ice to push out to one side or the other. They played that perfectly. That's a great answer out of eUnited. First round on the board in map number 2.
And that was the first time that eUnited was able to pressure Fire and Ice back where F&I has started off explosively, as you expect them to do. Fire and Ice is definitely a team that has always prided themselves, or at least I've always prided themselves personally, on their initials and how strong and explosive they can be off the start. If you can shut that down, elongate the round, whether it be control, whether it be escalation, or even in this case, execution on checkout, you basically put a damper, right? You kind of soften up the allure of Fire and Ice and their ability to be able to shut you down quickly. And eUnited goes back to that strategy. Now, with this standoff, you did set up a storyline on the opposite side of Praized, playing his 1Vs a lot better. With the standoff, you know, maybe being elongated as long as it could be, do you think he pushes into Dyslexic? He's going to be the linchpin that pushes one team to go into the other.
He has right hand on this side. He can kind of play that pillar a lot better. He can get the shots around the cubby corner to be able to pressure out a little bit better. And let's see what they do here is if they can push up. Kenny's going to try to rotate back with that sniper. Body shot onto Xploidz, which will settle him down for just a moment. 3v3 on this side of the map still. Second shot onto Xploidz does get the down. Now they're going to pull the snub. Try to get the downs in the middle of the map. Beautiful job getting the extra damage from the angle. And now you see on the opposite side of the map, Praized is playing his positioning. Dyslexic has not. Oh, chainsaw battle. Let's go!
Oh. You love your chainsaw battles. You know what? Honestly, you gotta up your money, Colin. All right, it's $5 for a retro charge. What are we getting if a chainsaw battle goes down to the winner?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Because then I don't want kids to come out here with, you know, backroom deals and start splitting 5 and 5 if I say I got 10 on a chainsaw battle winner. You know what I'm saying? I don't need them to just start bargaining up in the middle. Retro charge is something you got to work for sometime, baby.
That is true. Well, you got to mash the button hard to win that chainsaw battle too. Let's be real. Let's be real on that one. Look at the aggression once again. Oh, I love it. Powerz pushing him back. Fire and Ice takes that low side. Powerz is being pressured, but no worries. But Dyslexic does have the nades, and he's instantly going to throw them out there. That's going to force one up. Matter of fact, Praized is going to be finished off. 4v2. Powerz now, who started with the aggression on checkout, unfortunately, he's going to go down. Powerz will follow suit. Tough spot to be in. But again, Fire and Ice set the precedence in round 5, much like they did in rounds 1 and round 2. They started off aggressive. They took bottom side. Dyslexic wasn't shy about getting in and getting out with the nades. That was just a great aggressive round for Fire and Ice, and it played right into their wheelhouse, and they take the round.
Well, here we go into the next round number 6. eUnited, they probably need to find this one. I don't think going down too many rounds in a row to Fire and Ice is a good situation. Xploidz gets tagged up heavy thanks to the mark, and now you see Fearzly. He's going to get the incendiaries, and he actually gets out. Nobody played up close enough for eUnited to really stop that pick for the incendiaries, and Powerz has been taken out. They need a pick here with a sniper of Kenny to find a way to get back into this round, but it thankfully comes through for them in the hands of Praized. I talk about how much better he's been playing his 1v position. He gives his team a chance to win this fight. Nade comes through, gets the kill finish onto Toti in front of the platform. The extra down. Now it's a 2v2. This is a 2v2. Praized gets flanked. Praized gets flanked. No. He goes down. Kenny goes down. Oh my God. 4-2, and here comes the punt. Let me see it go into water. Is it going into water? Oh, never mind.
We'll never know. Hey, Fire and Ice is one of the few teams that will, in fact, execute eUnited. Let's be real, right? Again, you asked about that aura at the beginning. Fire and Ice has their own aura. Now, do I think certain teams don't take them seriously? I do. I really do. Now, for whatever reason that is, I just feel that, you know, just the way it is. But Fire and Ice wants to win this series. Again, no matter how bad they've been playing as of recently, how hot and cold they've been, against eUnited, both teams want to end equally as much. We're going to see the better team win tonight. And Xploidz, once again, trying to take that low stop. At this time, eUnited pushes them back, but Fearzly has a great angle. However, it's a 2v4. Now it's a 1v4, and eUnited took it right back to them. That headbutt fight goes their way.
But that's what eUnited has to worry about, is the way that they're winning these rounds is they're having to push right back into it. Powerz is being held down right now. I want that to be, if Fire and Ice win this map 2, that is the story of map 2, is they have kind of isolated Powerz. They found a way to either get him with incendiaries, get him in pressure situations where he's not able to escape. Under 4K damage, not many kills to his name, not even really a lot of assist either. Smokes out, stuns out. There's the quick pick onto the incendiaries by Xplosive. He's going to actually try to throw one deep. Powerz gets to the opposite side of the map, hits a body shot. The other little damage comes in.
Yo!
He must have heard me. This man must have been pissed. He's pissed. That's a team. That's damn near an ace. Damn near. It was 3 out of 4.
That was an ace, wasn't it? I mean, even the guy who got burnt to a crisp, he still got a couple pellets in. But fair enough, we'll give him 3. Powerz took that, like, let's see it again. So here's that first one, takes down the first, gets this, no, Xplosive got him. Xplosive got him with the nades. Xplosive steals the ace away, but I don't care. Powerz put on an absolute clinic.
Here we go in round number 9, 4-4. It's now a best of 3. First team to win 2 rounds in this situation are going to win this map number 2, and I think eUnited needs it. They need to be able to answer back right here. They got to get it to 1-1. You don't want to go down 2-0 to Fire and Ice. Give them so many maps to play with going into the later half of this series. Here comes the Lancer Fire. Praized playing up on Dyslexic now. A little red. Back A's tagging him up, plays across the map. He gets lancered up just a hair, but now Praized gets lancered up. Gets a good little angle there. The 45 comes through. Back A out from Powerz is not going to be enough to get a kill. Damage is coming through now for eUnited. Kenny now with his snub in hand pulls the Lancer. Little wrap shot out. Incendiary throws at him. Second one out. Neither downs or kills coming through, and it looks like he's stuck in a corner. Fearzly nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Xploidz playing up, bouncing around at the front of the platform. He gets taken care of. One more round for eUnited. Can tie this up.
And shout out to Kenny to stay alive as long as he did, to create that spacing to allow his teammates to come in for a much better percentage chance to take that fight, whoever was pushing him for Fire and Ice. Heads up play from him. eUnited's taking this, and they're taking it in stride. They have turned things around back in their favor. They're now at map point, and the opportunity to tie this series up 1-1 has now become a reality. I expect Fire and Ice to start off hot and heavy like they've done previously. Let's see if they're going to do so. I expect them to just fly into eUnited.
Here we come into that next round. A lot of damage there on the Powerz in the middle of the map. Xplosive has gone down. Dyslexic is over here right now. Praized had a free pick on the frag grenades, but it doesn't help his teammates whatsoever. 3 down and dead. Praized is all by himself. He doesn't know. I love that shelf. If he were to actually take the cover into that shelf, it actually knocks it off of the cover. It actually knocks it over and it gives away your position. Praized is going to get called out now. See them rotating around. Body shot by Toti. That's basically got him down to one-shot situation. He gets cleaned up. That's a round in favor of Fire and Ice. Round number 11, locked and ready to go.
So I got to ask you something real quick before it gets started. I knew Fire and Ice was going to come out in round 8, and they were just going to explode and go forward, or round 10, excuse me. So what do you think they're going to do now? Can they get away with that aggression once again, or will eUnited be ready for it?
Good to be back.
eUnited, I think, has to be able to get the call out. It's not necessarily being ready for it. They have to get the marks. They have to know that all 4 in this situation. And it is. It's an 8-man push over here. 4 versus 4. They're bringing everybody over here. They're going to barrel up onto the sniper rifle, try to get into the hands of Xploidz. They don't get even a down. They don't get a down with 3 Lancers shooting toward that long shot. Here comes a flash. They're going to have one player up on the platform, not throwing that incendiary just yet. Body shot onto Xplosive. They're going to get the quick revive off onto him on this cubby corner by that fridge, but Powerz has to pay for the second revive. They still have not thrown any of the nades. They haven't gotten anything out to fight back with. Xplosive with a down, Praized with a down, but that's not enough. That's not in time. You see the kills come through. That is 6-5. Fire and Ice, they are up 2-0 over eUnited, and what could only be described as a heavyweight matchup. Fire and Ice one map away from victory and sending eUnited their first loss of the split. We will find out who's going to win it right after a quick commercial break.
To the Gears Pro League Phase 2 Day 8. I'm Taylor Reflections Double, joined by Colin the Crow Clark. An amazing and electrifying 2 maps back-to-back. Regency Control. It ends 300-288 on a knife's edge. EU losing by 12 points. And much the same here on Checkout. Goes to a round 11. 6-5 victory for Fire and Ice. EU losing by 1 round. Fire and Ice EU has been as close as it possibly can be, but the reality is eUnited, who went undefeated in Pro League towards the beginning and even up until this series, right in Phase 2, now are looking at a potential 3-0 loss to Fire and Ice, depending on how Escalation Vascar goes. Colin, this series has been incredible, but F&I has always found a way to take a victory.
F&I continues to find a way to get these wins, and that's, again, what you got to do. eUnited just not able to close out, which is they keep giving Fire and Ice life. They had a chance to try to close it out a couple of rounds in a row where they either had the advantage, they had a flank, they had something along the lines that could win in the round, but they just don't find a way to win it. And I'm just not exactly sure what the problem is tonight with eUnited. They aren't converting the way that they have been, the way that they were able to put teams down, the way that they were able to win games, not just convincingly, but it was whole-handedly, where they weren't really even challenged up. I'm not sure what the difference is, if it's been a lackluster performance, if it's been a if it's necessarily, I mean, we could look at it and just say, hey, look, Fire and Ice ain't Dream Conspiracy. They a hell of a lot better team. You know what I'm saying, baby?
Well, and you know what? I didn't want to spin that narrative, but I've got to bring it up because it is something that is realistic. Okay, Colin? And no, look, it's something to say, right? And it's nothing against Dream Conspiracy, but let's talk about, again, what we opened up the storyline with, the dialogue with about eUnited. Flawless victories, 3-0 across the board, not losing a single map. But had they truly been tested? Fire and Ice, in my opinion, is their first true test. Again, it doesn't matter how hot and cold F&I's been. Fire and Ice is still Fire and Ice. And when they take a series seriously, you better watch out because they will look to beat you. And that's what they're doing to eUnited. So again, I go back to the original discussion point. Had eUnited truly been challenged up until this point? I don't think they had.
I'm going to have to, at this point, almost agree with that fact and that sentiment, because it's mind-boggling to me how good they can play for such a long time, but they aren't able to get victories. They aren't able to close it out against Fire and Ice. Also, I think something that might have been a little underlooked by a lot of us, I mean, from the chat to all of us in the talent team, Fire and Ice's backs are kind of against the wall. We're a little over halfway through this split right before the major. You're in the middle of the pack. You're not finding yourself with a good seeding. You're not going to find yourself getting a lot of a win bonus. You're not going to find yourself probably starting in that upper bracket if you don't get it together quick. You know what I'm saying, baby?
And you know what? I mean, Fire and Ice, you're right, back against the wall. This is one of their worst performances in Pro League in quite some time. I mean, really, in quite some time. And it brought a lot of questions to the forefront. Is F&I truly that dominant roster that we expect them to be? Because, hey, in majors and stuff, right, they've been pulling up and playing very well. Second place in the Spring Major, third place during MSP. So it's not like they're lacking, but when it comes to Pro League and E-Days, this is where they shine. But they've definitely had their struggles. But now they're looking to get a 3-0 win against eUnited, which would be truly, truly impressive. But Vascar, as we started the dialogue, it's a 50-50, and off the start, eUnited, they're looking good.
eUnited trying to come away with a victory here. I mean, backs against the wall at this point. You have to make your own destiny right now. And eUnited, they have to be dominant in this map 3. They got to start taking it to Fire and Ice. They can't let the fight come to them. Flash is out by both squads. Praized is going to get pushed by 2 different directions. They give up the over rotation to that side of the map. You see them trying to get through the middle of the map. Xplosive actually looks like he got chased for a hot minute. He could have very well gone down. Xploidz is he's gonna get stacked up against here, down on him. Fearzly rotates into the area. He's gonna have a teammate as well. Toti's here as well to try to lance her out. They know that at least 2 players are there. It's a 1v1 on the opposite side. It'll be a 3v3, 1v1 over here.
1v1, that's going to be between Praized, who you highlighted has been playing much better, and he absolutely has been the player of the week, and for good reason. Xploidz pushes up, takes down one onto Explosive, and that fight will be dominantly won by Fire and Ice. eUnited losing 3 members. Praized now forced to stand on his own 2 feet, facing a wall of FNI members pressuring into him. And one of the worst things for eUnited is the fact that now they've got to fight against a constant barrage of bullets and also a domination attempt. The rug about to be swept from eUnited's feet unless they can get a break, and it doesn't look like they can. Powerz has to back up, but B finally gets touched. But did Fire and Ice do enough damage to swing the win condition back in their favor?
Well, right now, they got to worry about a possible another decap that they need to get, and they keep the home hill of eUnited decapped for now. This is a big fight here. If Explosive goes down, that opens the angle up for Xploidz to try to get a decap at the B hill and try to open up the win for them in this situation. There it is. No points going in favor of eUnited. Xploidz is going to have the 2-to-1 hill advantage. That's going to give them a chance to probably come back. And no, it's not. It's not going to give them the win condition, but it's a full 30-second stand at this point. This is a situation... Yo, Praized, you can't miss that, brother. I love you. You can't miss that, Arodi.
Well, he goes back for round 2. Xploidz still pressured, full red, going to be taken down. And eUnited is going to hold on to their win condition, albeit an absolute miracle from Fire and Ice, but Explosive wins the fight he needs to. And even though some moments get shaky, Colin, eUnited holds on and they take round number 1. You got to really say, you know, eUnited had a chance to close it out early, so did Fire and Ice, but both teams kind of, you know, dwindled that moment away. But I do want to highlight a player, and that was Powerz in that moment when he was pressuring up on that Arrival's hill. He popped off, picked up 2 or 3 players from F9, and truly the reason as to why eUnited got back in as well as they did, plus the heads-up play, instead of funneling in 2 Arrivals just to get Lancer down. 1 player goes to tank to get the decap. That works out. An early placement of the long shot from Fire and Ice. This is going to be interesting because now they're on the good side to get that quick pick.
Yeah, and Fire and Ice is going to try to fly over to that B hill. They need to get into the area quickly and try to get that quick pick off. You see them coming to the front side of the tank, trying to get into the area with that long shot. Praized got triple lancered right there.
And he's down.
And quickly killed. That is a 3v2 now, and that should pretty much put eUnited on the back foot. This is not a good situation for them. They need to worry about who can get these kills, who may be able to get these hills necessarily for them. Powerz has to be able to challenge up. He gets traded out. So now nobody can pressure the triple cap domination from that side of the map. They need to find it down here onto Toti, try to get a kill onto him. Xploidz left alive here at B, but I mean, he's picture perfect, playing for himself, fending for his own.
Yeah, but you know, you can highlight Xploidz, and rightly so. Winning, or obviously securing that long shot, winning the fight, keeping B in the hands of Fire and Ice. But I've got to give credit to Powerz, though, on the opposite end. Getting that trade against Dyslexic, that was big. And the reason why, if Dyslexic wins that, this round is over with. It's tied up 1-1, Colin, because Dyslexic gets to cap on C, and we already seen Fire and Ice win the take fight. So that was a big, big trade, and that's the only reason why this round is able to continue. We know eUnited literally has a phrase coin called the eUnited Special, which is always a real thing, no matter how close you are to victory. But FNI rotating around the map, looking solid, and Xploidz connecting shot after shot, much like he did on Regency with the M-bar, this time with the snipe, equally as good.
Now trying to look for a little foot poking out of the side of that vending machine here. B Hill's getting decapped. Triple cap domination starts to tick forward for Fire and Ice. 1 down comes through. It could be it. You see Explosive go down on his own home hill, but that will get the decap. Dyslexic is right there. He's going to try to start this back off. They're going to try to finish it off right here, right now. Try to make it 1-1 going in to round number 3. And that will finish the triple cap domination off and get them a victory. All tied up, all knotted up. Fire and Ice, they fire back.
Yeah, big victory. Like you said, they fire back. They won some distinct fights. By the way, who was it? Was it Explosive who got lancered and focused off the rip, Colin? I think it was Explosive who was just absolutely...
Praized got triple lancered and then cleaned up.
But that is big from Fire and Ice to coordinate that and to get the kill. Not because the down, whatever, it's still special. It alleviates pressure. It opens up the door for you to get the quick pick. But the fact that they also get the full elimination was big on Fire and Ice. This time around, though, they don't have that quick pick potential. Now it's in eUnited's favor. So now we get to see the shoe on the other foot. Will eUnited be just as successful as Fire and Ice was for winning not only the tank fight, but also the snipe?
I like how eUnited couldn't go for the same play. The way that oh my god, and Praized gets cleaned up immediately. That can't happen. That is a terrible situation to put your team in. Now you're gonna have to figure out what you're made of. You can triple cap Domination. They're going for the Mr. Krabs play. They're all over the B hill. They're stopping anybody from getting in. There it is, 2-1.
26
Fire and
seconds.
Ice. That might be the fastest round of escalation I've seen in a hot minute.
That's, brother, I don't know if I've ever seen a Vascar round end that quick. Did eUnited send 4 players to tank? Because no one died on helicopter arrival side. Whoever went over there for Fire and Ice had free reign to go all the way to C over towards A. Like, no worries at all. Was that a full 4-man push from eUnited and they still lost the tank fight?
Yeah, 4-man push and they lost the 1v. I mean, Praized died instantaneously. That's
instantly.
That's what I was talking about. When Praized died almost instantly from the pickup, that's what can't happen. That's what you can't give up to your teammates.
I'm flabbergasted that round ended so quickly in the way that it did, and the fact that eUnited committed 4 players to the 3 of Fire and Ice, just absolute insanity. We go back to yet another round where Fire and Ice is already applying that pressure. eUnited equally as well, though, and that's going to be a much better push from EU, you have to assume. Xploidz is going to drop Toti as well. On the opposite end, player 6, Dyslexic, will win his engagement, and that makes that fight on tank all the much more important for eUnited as they win it. They won't have the 2-1, but they at least have a foothold, right? It's not going to end in a domination as it has in the past. Plus, Xplosive has the snipe, which is big because Fire and Ice has been tearing it up with Xploidz having that snipe in his hand. So things are looking up for eUnited despite them having a deficit, not having the objective. They have the potential and the tools they need to fight back.
Yeah, they've got the power weapons. They're going to get the extra ammo into the situation here with Xplosive. He's going to have to look around the map. He's trying to find anybody that he can mark out. And you see here where the first player that he might try to get a kill on is that player at A hill, playing over at the home hill of Fire and Ice to try to open things up for them to push over in the 2v2. Now that's going to break out, but on the home hill of eUnited, they have to worry about 2 other players coming into that situation. So Xplosive kind of has to keep his head on a swivel. He could get easily flanked here, especially with his teammate dying now. He's going to play back into that second half home hill. He's not going to be able to get anything going in this situation except maybe pull his Nasher, try to get one chunk. He doesn't even get the trade out, though. Both players alive, now pushing over to the B hill.
Fire and Ice is just playing different. They want to win this without question. Their aggression, their ability to get in these fights. I mean, it cleaned them up as quickly. Oh, my Lord. And it ends once again, 1 minute and 45 seconds. We talked about it last night, Colin, when we had a chance to cast. And we brought up the point that certain teams just are special because their ability to get into a fight and clean up that fight quickly. And then basically, whether it's take over the map, take over the hill, whether it be control, win in quick execution, or in this case, right, secure their way for a domination is special. And the way that Fire and Ice is just going toe-to-toe with eUnited and killing them one by one in quick succession, I mean, that is something special that Fire and Ice has as a team. Vanquish is probably one that I would say can match that energy, match that aggression, and match that ability to be able to clean up a team fight as quickly as they can. But Fire and Ice is taking the fight to eUnited consistently, and they're consistently winning. I know you're probably not tallying how many team fights have been won, but if you were, Fire and Ice would just probably be double the score of that of eUnited.
At this point, not in Escalation. I don't normally keep that, but I would tell you, this is a dominant performance by them. Like, this is scary good for Fire and Ice. This is the Fire and Ice that everybody expects to see 24/7, 365 days a year. And if they can keep this up, they are going to be dangerous against in that major coming up at the end of August. Triple cap Domination maybe ticks through for eUnited here if they can get the D hill under the control. Powerz playing toward the backside of the map, has 2 players in front of him, now 3. They've left him on an island, maybe trying to get one little cheeky kill here or there. Not going to be able to get anything just yet, and he goes down. Now they rotate over to where that first half neutral hill is. 3-player Wolfpack. Xplosive again is left to win a fight by his own devices, and he's not going to win that either. This is a bad situation. eUnited really at the seams seems to be tearing apart.
Fearzly forced to back off 1v2, but either way, like you said, tearing at the seams, and you know, to start off so well and to put F9 in such a good spot. My goodness, the teamfire and the pickup Xplosive is now in a 1v2. Fearzly, for goodness sakes, doesn't even go up to help Toti. He 100% trusts Toti to win that 1v1 against Xplosive, right? That could have been a 2v1, but the fact that he doesn't even help Toti just comes to show you how much confidence Fire and Ice has in each other. This is a 4-1. What should have been a 50-50 has now turned into a one-sided domination with the way of Fire and Ice. And to make matters worse for eUnited, Fire and Ice is also on the good side to not the good side in general, let alone the new long shot, but on the good side in general to pick up the long shot. Kenny's going to try to counteract this by placing the frags, but that doesn't have as much prestige as the long shot does. You better believe FNI is going to prioritize that because they want Xploidz to have all the firepower he can get.
Here we go into the next round. Can eUnited answer back finally, make it 4-2 at least, try to get anything going in this situation? You see, as the round starts off, everybody fighting over that tank position yet again, but it looks like, once again, Fire and Ice will be the aggressors in this situation. Push up to the other side of the tank, try to get onto eUnited's side of the map. eUnited with a 2-1 hill advantage, but Fire and Ice winning the sniper rifle. Praized last alive for them to really challenge against. They get the kill on him. Powerz has the incendiary now of Fire and Ice, but I don't know how much that's going to help them in this situation.
Not much, you'd have to assume. I mean, a 2-1 hill count for Fire and Ice. They'll easily close out that deficit that eUnited gave them. Granted, though, eUnited 3 strong on D, but already the pressure, the 2v1 against Powerz. Powerz by himself, goes up top. He's going to be sandwiched, though, between 5 and 6 and finish down. Meanwhile, the refresh is in with Xplosive and Powerz. Or excuse me, who is that? That's going to be Xplosive. Yeah, Xplosive and Powerz is already gone. Xplosive and Kenny, excuse me, will in fact rotate up the pressure on to Dyslexic. eUnited's got a very narrow lead, but Xploidz is going to rotate in, snipe in hand, and it always worries me when he's aiming down sights, but either way, Xplosive has finished off the Lancer alone from Dyslexic, able to connect. Fire and Ice is just doing so well as a team.
Let's see what they can do here as they try to push back into the B hill. You can see a meat shield come out. They're going to continue to push up those stairwells. Powerz is going to get a big kill there, and I really like the aggression from them. Double kill coming through. He and Kenny trying to play into the situation. Toti at the home hill now realizes that they've played back against that E hill, and they're going to go for a 2-1 hill advantage, really try to accumulate enough points in this round to just win it off of pure points and try to rack it up to 4-2. Try to make it one of those rounds where it's going to cause a Herculean effort out of Fire and Ice to win it in a 5-1 fashion. They're only up by about 50 right now. Unsure if they're going to be able to get it to go much further as Dyslexic is pushed in with 2 other players from Fire and Ice. That's a 3-man wolf pack over to E. They need to get one of these kills here quickly if they want to have any hopes of getting this out.
Not only does Fire and Ice need to win the 3v3 here currently on E and push through onto D, but they also have to bank on the fact that Toti is going to win his 1v against Xplosive on the opposite end, because that's another lane that eUnited can lock. One hill should be enough. Well, it already is, right? So at this point, Fire and Ice is going to have to do a lot right. And you know what? I'm sending Toti in this 1v1, or maybe you want to wait till the 3v3, but it doesn't matter. Both fights have to be won regardless, but eUnited gets what they want. They get the first down. This should send Toti straight into player 3 onto Xplosive. Either way, he's going to be now in a 1v2. This is going to make his life very difficult. eUnited knows one hill is going to be enough. The decap comes in only momentarily, but either way, eUnited wins their fights, and they will win a valuable round to bring it 2-4 and stay alive a little bit longer.
This is a definitive round for eUnited. They were able to play a little bit more defensively. They were able to really force eUnited to make some, or Fire and Ice to make some bad mistakes, which is what they've struggled with. eUnited has kind of looked like they've confused Fire and Ice, or Fire and Ice looks like they've confused eUnited at times in this round. And now eUnited looks like they might have figured out some of those initial strats, has the ability to maybe settle the tea kettle and get a couple of kills early to try to force out bad situations from Fire and Ice. Let's see if they can do it into this next round, round number 7. They need it. They need to play perfect. I mean, they can't lose now. This matchup's life is on the line to every single round at this point.
100%, and the pressure is real. We talked about certain teams, and does the pressure get to them? I don't expect eUnited is feeling pressure. I really don't. Even now, I don't think they're feeling it whatsoever, and eUnited's going to be okay if they continue to play as D-heavy as they did in the last round, but that started off a great start. But either way, Fire and Ice Once again, we'll take the 2-1 off the rip, it seems, but Powerz is doing a good job with the retro, keeping Dyslexic in check. So it's not going to be... Dyslexic's going to be going for a very bold push. He's got the frags, though, so he can afford to do so. Chunks out one, doubles back onto E. I think at this point, he's just going for a quick cap, and then he wants to dip out. Now he'll have the advantage, but can't get it just yet. And again, that's Powerz keeping him in check. Meanwhile, on the opposite end, for Tank, Xplosive goes for a bold push. Xploidz is going to be very weak. He's going to be finished off, and eUnited will successfully win the tank fight, but they still are down a hill because Dyslexic finally caps E.
Now you see what's going to happen is eUnited's going to have to push back against the tide. I don't know if they're going to go for the home of Fire and Ice or if they're going to try to go for the 2v1 at E Hill. If I am eUnited, you know that your numbers are good over at E right now. You try to pressure that 2v1 unless Xplosive gets a kill here. One player from Fire and Ice is not on the map at the moment, and a long rotation from Kenny doesn't really help until the very last second. Powerz kind of does that 1v, or that basically 1v up, except for a few Lancer, maybe 2 or 3 for Kenny. Now they need Xplosive to hit a body shot to help Praized out. Praized is going to get flown out by 3 players of Fire and Ice. He gets cleaned up. There's that wolf pack coming through for Fire and Ice. Big body shot out from Xplosive, gets the down. Now stunned. He was trying to stay in that area. I like that idea. He was trying to stay there because it's almost a guaranteed headshot for a player with his accuracy on the revive, but he doesn't get it to go, and now it's going to be up to the rest of his respawns and the rest of his teammates to make a miracle happen across the map. You see Kenny and Powerz pushed up to the D hill. They're starting to cap that up. Now they're getting their home back. This could be the triple cap domination they need to make it 4-3. They get it to go. I think the linchpin of that round for me, honestly, is Powerz. He had to play that 1v spot very aggressively, put pressure there, gets that basically a down on his own, like I said, except for a couple of shots from Kenny. This is a situation that I think Kenny needs to thank his lucky stars that over-rotation didn't come back to bite him, where Powerz loses his life there. Next thing you know, you're having to find yourself in a 1v1 to try to just keep your team in the round.
Disables are going to come out this run. You have to assume Powerz hovering over the ensign for FNI. Fire and Ice is going to answer with, it looks as if the retro off the start, but instead they're going to upgrade, save the disable for a round 9. They can afford to do that because they do have the round advantage over eUnited. So this is going to be great for them because EU is most likely going to be losing out on either their retro or their shot going into a round 9 if we get to that point. But Fire and Ice is going to be on their favorable side, one that they typically have success on, albeit eUnited has been doing a great job off the previous round, staying alive and honestly looking a lot more in control this time around and looking like the old eUnited we expect them to be. Dyslexic has consistently been winning this fight, or at least getting the cap on E. But this time around, it's going to be a bit different because Powerz doesn't have the retro, so he's forced to go in. The shock is going to be great. Toti's going to drop off. Xploidz forced to back off. And if Powerz wins this, it's going to be the cherry on top, and he hits Dyslexic with 2 great shots, and eUnited another great start going for a domination.
Xploidz with the up A there onto Praized, gets a good body shot. Kenny has to turn back and help him out. In the middle of the map, a 1v has been won by Xplosive, a great shot out. Now the respawn of Toti gets the down onto Kenny, but the quick cleanup from Praized helps him out. 3 players from eUnited in the area. Dyslexic off of respawn, gets the meat shield, but it's not going to be enough. This is tied up going into round number 9. One more round to go for eUnited to close out their first map of the series and take it back to control on Spire.
All right, Control Spire should be underway shortly if eUnited continues to play the way they have been. Now, one of the things that was discussed that last round, round number 8, was the fact that, we saw a disable come out for Fire, or excuse me, from eUnited, disabling the ensign of Fire and Ice. Obviously, they don't have the luxury here. United still might upgrade that retro to an ensign. That's exactly what they're going to do. Fire and Ice has to make a decision. Ensign, shock, which one do we get rid of? This would just be crazy if they place it wouldn't. Oh my gosh, they might do it. They are tempting fate, brother. If they did, Fire and Ice would be the funkiest team I've ever seen, but they don't. They go with the smart decision to get rid of the ensign. But I believe we do have a DC. Yeah, Xplosive has DC, so we're going to take a little bit of time here, go for a bit of a reset. But let's talk about it, right? So at this point, eUnited is not going to have their ensign off the start, which would have been great for Powerz, who has been consistently in that 1v against Dyslexic. So he's not going to have that added advantage, that added utility.
Yeah, no added utility coming into this next one. No supply, or excuse me, no utility grenade for them to be able to use. So I think that probably has to definitively give the edge over to the side of Fire and Ice. Also, is there any way we could get all of this UI off the screen so we can just bask in the glory of Ketor Vrawl?
Yeah, Toti told him no. He even shook no. What is Toti doing? He's tweaking. He's all right. Yeah, that is a nice skin though. Let me just say that. But do we have one of the other new skins too?
No, we don't have any of the other new skins in the game right now.
I represent. Oh, hey, there you go, Kenny. You got to get him down. Nice. Those bots, man. You got to watch out for those guys, man. Those bots are brutal. Those bots are brutal. Okay, I think Xplosive is back in, so we should be starting after this this bit of a stalemate that ends up ending. But for the most part, yeah, still round 9. eUnited's fought back tooth and nail. And I'm going to be honest with you, as I always say, and I don't do this to cover my angles or anything, because I say this to be genuine, voted for eUnited to win the series. Fire and Ice, though, they clearly are just tearing it up. But I don't want to see any team lose in a way of 3-0. Especially not a series like this, right? eUnited versus Fire and Ice, which is just two titans fighting. So I do want to see eUnited win round 9 and force a Spire, because it would be fun to watch Spire in general. But I do want to say the implications of Fire and Ice winning in a 3-0 not only is impressive because eUnited's been undefeated. They, or at least coming into the series, they were undefeated. They won all their series in 3-0. They never dropped the map. To lose 3-0 would be very powerful for Fire and Ice, but more importantly, on the 3 maps that they do it on, Colin, we talked about it. If that would be a big statement, not only to beat eUnited 3-0, but to do it on 3 maps that eUnited is very strong on. That's a big statement for Fire and Ice.
That is a big statement win, definitively for them to go forward. There's Xplosive, and we stalemate the round out. I was going to give a nice little soliloquy and say that if Xplosive was not back yet, we were going to do lore story time with Ketor Vrawl, by the way, if he hadn't gotten back. But you know what? We're going to have to save that for another day. We're going to have to save it for another day, my brother.
Well, story time, I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunities for that, Colin. How many times have we done story time in the past? I mean, if we put it all together, it'd make an hour-long YouTube video. I'm sure even longer than that with how many breaks we've had in the past. But here we go. Round 9, ladies and gentlemen. Again, just to recap, eUnited not going to have their ensign. It was disabled out. Fire and Ice will have it. Oh, eUnited goes for the quick pick. The shock is going to punish them, but not enough. eUnited still gets away.
I love the over-rotation. 2 players from Fire and Ice have come across the map now. They're going to try to throw those frags over the top of the cover. They're going to go for the pinch here. All 4 players from Fire and Ice are on either side of the players from eUnited. Nade out. Doesn't find anybody on the second nade. And this could be the opening that eUnited needs. They need to be able to break out here. Toti goes for the wrap shot here onto Kenny. Kenny with another shot over the top. Not going to be able to hit the down shot just yet. Finally gets it to go. Powerz with a back A. Won't be able to find the pressure he needs. Praized moves up into the fight. He and Praized playing a 2v2 here against Toti, against Xploidz. This might be for the round in the map. He gets the down for the sniper, but it's over. This is going to be a triple cap domination and a 3-0 victory in the side of Fire and Ice.
3-0 victory. Fire and Ice absolutely. Well, you know what? No, excuse me. Fire and Ice wins this series, but they didn't demolish. They did not destroy. They didn't dismantle eUnited. Every single map came down to the wire. Let's recap. Regency 300 to 288. Checkout 6 to 5. Vascar 5 to 4. This was a very close 3-0. By no means did Fire and Ice wipe the floor of eUnited, but they did get the victory, and F&I will 100% move up a couple of rungs on the ladder of that Pro League standing list. Well done from Fire and Ice. This is not the way I expected this series to end by any means.
This is also a lot of the times I allude to it. This is a misleading scorecard. Teams and players are going to see this 3-0. They're going to see this scorecard, and they're not going to think anything about these rounds, these matchups, the way that these maps went. This right here is one of the most misleading scorecards you can imagine because, like you said, 300 to 288, 6 to 5, 5 to 4. 1 extra round, 12 extra points in the first round, whatever it might have been. 1 more hill rotation. eUnited's right back into it. Fire and Ice, good job to them, though. Completely in awe of how well they played to keep up with and defeat eUnited in this situation. I really am pleased by their performance tonight. I think that's such a great thing to see out of them, to see them be able to play up and pressure up on a team that has played as well as eUnited has.
Yeah, and when it comes down to EU versus F&I, as I said at the beginning, this is always a great matchup. It truthfully is. It wasn't always a good matchup, but it has come to be a good matchup in the previous phases and splits. And that's just because Fire and Ice has improved so much. They stayed together as a team, and much the same for eUnited. They've also been together as a team just as long, and you love to see it. You really do. And Fire and Ice came in, they wanted to win, and they took the bull by the horns, and they did so. But again, like you said, Colin, a lot of people would look at this 3-0 and say, wow, Fire and Ice destroyed eUnited. Not the case at all. Very close series, a nail-biter. A couple of initials go to the way of eUnited. Maybe they take the victory, right, and we go to a map 4. Maybe we go to a map 5. So you better believe once eUnited and F&I meet up in the future, this series can be equally as close or could even swing to the way of eUnited. But also your sentiment, Colin, saying you are very pleased with the way F&I played, as am I.